Hi guys, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, January 13th, 2015. This is Jennifer. If you're here from the Project of Doom Facebook group, welcome. We have had a crazy amount of activity after the first week of the 2015 Quilt Along for the Project of Doom, and we have, I think since December, about 200 new people in that group, so it has been crazy active. And if you guys check out Tuesday photos on Fandom and Stitches today, you will see just how busy our quilt along has actually been. So my quilt is going to be made entirely out of Stonehenge except for the background, which I believe is in I think it's an artistic fabric. I would have to go back and look at the selvage, but it's a really pale dot. And like I said, all of my blocks and everything are going to be Stonehenge. I'm not putting titles on anything this time. Last time I hand embroidered each individual title, and I've had a lot of questions about this, so I'm going to answer it now. For my first Project of Doom in 2011, for each block, I very carefully removed the paper, which I normally wait until I piece the quilt, but I very carefully removed the paper from every block, and I used a slightly larger piece of muslin, lightweight muslin on the back. I hand wrote all of my titles myself using either a pencil or a ceramic pencil. And then I hand embroidered all of those individually before I pieced the top. It's a lot easier to work with this than it is to work with a whole piece, a whole quilt top. Now that is way enough about the Project of Doom. I have so much other stuff to talk about today. What this video is really about today is my 2015 to-do list. So the first thing I want to share is the quilt over my shoulder. This was actually a project in progress that I showed you guys last week. It was pieced on the diagonal. It was donated about 2/3 of the way done. So I finished it. I added a little fabric to finish up the top, and then I found this plaid flannel in my stash, and this top is complete. I'm actually going to pass this on to another Linus volunteer with a long arm quilt machine because I don't have a backing for this or anything, and we have Linus on Saturday, and because my machine that I sew on all the time is out for service, I can't get this done by Saturday. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go to someone else who can get it done so that we can get it turned around and back out to a child in crisis in Central Texas. So I have very appropriately written my to-do list on a Harry Potter notepad. I will be making a big list to go on my wall from the small list. But I'm going to go ahead and start at the top of this. First off is my Harry Potter swap quilt. This quilt came from two different swaps, one in 2006 and I think one in 2007. Might have been 2007, 2008, but it doesn't matter. This top was pieced last year. I have free motion quilted all of the pale blue, and that includes some of the pale blue in the actual quilt itself. I still need to quilt all of the blocks, and like I said, my machine is out for service, so it's gonna have to wait, which is why I haven't finished this one yet. This is my There and Back Again quilt. This is the Hobbit block of the month that we did a couple years ago on Fandom and Stitches. You can find all of these patterns under Lord of the Rings Hobbit on Fandom and Stitches, including this layout. This is basted and ready to quilt, and it is in line behind my Harry Potter swap quilt. This is the vintage quilt top that my husband gave me for our anniversary several years ago. I have everything I need to finish this, batting and backing. I just have to decide how it needs to be quilted. That's the only hang up. I've been carrying this one over year after year because I can't decide what to do with it. I'm seriously considering having it machine quilted because the stitching isn't great on some of the blocks, and so I would like to have it finished in a way that it's secure, that I can at least show it. If I can't do anything else, at least I can hang it on my quilt rack in my living room. These are my There and Back Again or Tababom signature blocks. These were gifted to all the designers when we did this quilt along on Fandom and Stitches. I am missing one. I'm going to go ahead and replace it. I'm going to substitute it, and I'm going to get this pieced. I have fabric to sash this with, and I'm just going to get this done. This is just going to be a wall quilt. It'll be a small quilt that just is a reminder of all of the lovely people that did There and Back Again with us. This is my embroidered flower quilt top. I did these 5 blocks. These 5. These were hand embroidered. I actually did this was a stitch along that was on a blog that doesn't exist anymore, sadly, because these patterns aren't out there and they're really great patterns. This is the project that I did to learn how to hand embroider so that I can embroider for the Project of Doom. That's the entire reason I did these blocks, and then I've had this quilt top ready to go, ready to quilt for about a year now. I have backing for this, I have batting for this, so it will go in the queue for free motion quilting after the other quilts that need to be free motion quilted. This is Topsy Turvy Trees. This is one of my patterns. You can find it in my Craftsy shop, and it just needs to be quilted. I have all the parts, just like all of these other ones, I have all the parts. Yeah, I've got a lot of free motion quilting to do this year. This is my big bag of Australian fabrics from Kat. So these are things that Hard Hat Kat gave me, and this is the pattern that I chose to do with it. I've already made a notation to myself about what I need to do with this. I just need to cut it out, and my plan for this year is to pre-cut all of the pieces for this quilt and make it while I'm at Quilt Retreat this year, which will be in March. This is my As You Wish quilt from the Princess Bride event we did on Fandom and Stitches last year. This is the first, and all of these that I've shown you, this is the first thing I'm carrying that's brand new from 2014. The reason this is still a UFO is I decided to, instead of embroidering my letters, I decided to applique them, and I was going to machine applique them, and I got them all ironed on, and I really didn't like the stitching. I tried a couple of different things on another piece, and I just couldn't find anything I liked, so I had actually appliqued, let me move over, and I ended up taking all those little stitches out, the machine applique stitches out, and now I'm hand stitching all of these down, and I'm currently down to the Princess B. So I still have the rest of Bride, and then a little bit lower down, I still need to do by S. Morgenstern. That's actually all that's left on this top. I just have to hand stitch this, and honestly I just haven't been in the mood to hand stitch, so it's been sitting in my bag waiting for me to be in the mood again. I have the backing for this, and I have the batting for this, and I'm probably going to have this one quilted. I'm probably going to send it out to a long armor just because it's a really large quilt, and I love to free motion quilt, but I don't like free motion quilting giant pieces very often. I don't know, we'll see how I feel when I actually get it done, because I have done big quilts before, so maybe I'll feel in the mood. The other project I'm carrying over from 2014, see, I only added 2 new ones, isn't that great? I removed like 7 and I added 2, so that's not too bad. The other project that I'm moving forward is this Frogger block. I actually did this last year for Fandom and Stitches, but what I would like to do is I want to finish this for Linus. I'm going to put some borders on this, I'm going to free motion quilt it, I'm going to donate it to Linus, and that's why this is on the list, just because I intended to do this last year and I got really busy, and then I took a big break in December and it didn't get done. So I'm going to do this year. It's on my list so that I don't forget. The last thing on my list is not technically a UFO, but it is something that is ongoing and I'm working on it all the time. As you guys know, I collect blocks for donation for the Linus Connection. I do Stars for Linus, which are 12-inch star blocks with bright colors on a light background, and I take orphan blocks, and I will take Project of Doom blocks. These are all orphan blocks. Actually, I think there's 1 bag of stars. But anyway, so I have several bags of blocks. These are all for the Linus Connection. These are orphan blocks, so like I said, not technically a UFO because most of these blocks were donated. They weren't actually made by me. So what I do is I collect enough, and then every once in a while I go through and sort. And the last time I sorted, I had lots of pinks and greens, so I have a bag of those. I have a bag of miscellaneous that are just all kinds of things, which is the bag that I sort out of into bags for quilts. I have blues and miscellaneous sizes, and what I usually do with that is I'll put them on my design wall until I get a pleasing layout, and then I will just sash whatever size needs to be sashed until I can get those all into one quilt. And then this is miscellaneous darks and brights, so I will just keep collecting these and making quilts for these and donating them to Linus. So that is everything on my 2015 to-do list. This does not include new projects. It doesn't include most of what I do. These are projects that are carried over from previous years and I would like to get finished this year. My goal for next year, I got down to 10, technically 10, though I'm going to count the orphan blocks as 1. So I have technically 10 things on my list this year. Last year I started with 17. What I would like to do by the end of this year is get down to 5. If I can just get down to 5, then hopefully, eventually, I will just have a very small amount of UFOs to carry over, and maybe eventually I will have a year where I have 0. I seriously doubt it will be this year because I have many other things that I want to work on this year. The Project of Doom is one thing I'm working on. I have a brand new pattern set that's going to come out soon. And I have a little list over on my side of ideas that I have for this year that I've jotted down that will hopefully turn into quilts before the end of 2015. And with any luck, not end up on my 2016 list. Okay, you guys, I want to see your list. Jules has already shared with us what she's going to do on her to-do list for 2015, and I would like to see you guys talk about it. Don't forget that if you post a video at ttmt.livejournal.com this month, you are entered to win a prize from the very talented Alia. So I would also like to invite our Talk to Me Tuesdayers that are on LiveJournal to friend your fellow video makers. There are a lot of us that actually use LiveJournal for other things besides Talk to Me Tuesday, and we would love to see you around posting about your life and posting pictures of your cats or whatever it is that you talk about when you're not posting on Tuesday. That's going to be it. My battery's almost dead on my camera, so I need to recharge, and I will see you guys next week.